All right, let's dive into a story from way back that honestly has all the drama of a modern-day TV series. We're talking about some serious family rivalry, jealousy, a super clever high-stakes battle for a fortune, and yeah, a flock of some very, very special sheep. This is the wild story of Jacob and his two wives.
And it all kicks off with this incredibly raw and desperate plea. This is Rachel talking to her husband Jacob. Right from the jump, you know the emotional stakes are just sky high. For Rachel, this isn't just about wanting a family, it feels like a matter of life and death.
So yeah, that desperate cry, it throws us right into Act 1 of our story. A bitter, painful conflict, not on some battlefield, but fought right inside the walls of a single home, between two sisters.
At the center of all this, you've got Leah and Rachel. They're sisters, and they're both married to the same guy, Jacob. And there's this really tragic irony to their situation. Leah, she can have kids, but she knows deep down that her husband doesn't really love her. And then there's Rachel, who has all of Jacob's love, but she can't get pregnant. Each sister has the one thing the other wants more than anything else in the world. So Leah starts having sons, and you can just feel her pain and her hope in the names she gives them. Her first son, Reuben, means something like, "He has seen my misery." When she has her third, Levi, she says, "Now, finally, my husband will get attached to me." I mean, these kids are basically living, breathing prayers for her husband's love. As Leah's family is getting bigger and bigger, you can imagine Rachel is just getting more and more desperate. So she turns to a pretty common custom for that time, surrogacy. Basically, a wife could give her servant to her husband, and any baby born from that would legally and in everyone's eyes be the wife's child. It was a way to build your family when you couldn't do it on your own.
And that's exactly the play Rachel makes. She gives her servant, Bilhah, to Jacob, and just like that, it's a proxy war against her sister. Her thinking is, if I can't have kids myself, I'll build my family this way. The baby race is officially on.
And when Bilhah has a second son for her, Rachel's reaction? Wow, it tells you everything you need to know. She says this, for her, it's not just about having children anymore. It's about winning this great struggle against her sister, Leah.
And you can just see the rivalry playing out in the names of these kids. This isn't just a family tree growing, it's a scoreboard. Leah's first sons have names that scream misery and a desperate longing for love. Rachel's sons, through her servant, are all about vindication and victory. So then Leah fires back by giving her servant Zilpah to Jacob too. Every single birth is another point scored in this deeply personal and you have to imagine incredibly painful competition.
And then the game changes. After all those years of struggling, of watching her sister have kids, of using surrogates, Rachel gets pregnant. She has her own son, and she names him Joseph. His birth is a huge pivot point. For Rachel, her disgrace is finally gone. And for Jacob, the birth of this son from the wife he truly loves is a signal that it's time for a major life change.
Okay, so that's Act 1. With a family of 11 sons now, the battle for children is pretty much over, and Jacob's focus shifts. Now, a new battle begins. This time, it's for his financial freedom from his tricky father-in-law, Laban.
Look, Jacob's been working for his father-in-law, Laban, for 20 years. That was the deal for his wives and for his service. Now he wants to go back to his own homeland, but he can't just leave with nothing. He has this massive family to provide for. He needs to get paid.
So Jacob goes to Laban with this really weird offer. He says, hey, don't give me a thing. Instead, he proposes that his payment will be any of the unusually colored animals that are born from now on. So any sheep or goat that's speckled, spotted, or dark. Now, if you're Laban, that probably sounds like a pretty sweet deal, right?
And of course, Laban jumps at the deal. But you got to remember who we're dealing with here. Laban is a schemer. He sees a chance to trick Jacob and basically keep all the wealth for himself. So he agrees to the terms, but he has absolutely no intention of playing fair.
I mean, that very same day, Laban goes through his flocks and takes out every single animal that's already speckled or spotted or dark. He gives them all to his own sons, and then he puts a 3-day journey's distance between their flocks and Jacob's. He has completely stacked the deck. He's left Jacob with a flock of solid-colored animals that should, logically, only ever have more solid-colored babies. And that's the central problem of Act 2, isn't it? Jacob's entire payment plan depends on speckled animals being born, but Laban has taken away the entire genetic source code for that. So how in the world is Jacob going to build a fortune now? But Jacob, he comes up with this plan that is just out there. It's this wild piece of folk science, not something you'd find in a genetics textbook today, that's for sure, but it's his clever countermove. He takes these tree branches, peels stripes in them, and then he puts them in the watering troughs right where the animals would mate. But he only does this for the strongest animals in the flock.
And the crazy thing is, it works. It actually works. Against all normal expectations, the strong animals mate in front of these stripy branches and start giving birth to streaked, speckled, and spotted babies. Jacob is literally creating his own paycheck out of thin air using Laban's own animals.
See, the real genius here was in the selection. By only putting the branches in front of the strong animals, all the speckled offspring that were born were strong, and they belonged to him. Meanwhile, the weaker animals, who he just let breed normally, they kept having plain weak babies, which stayed with Laban. So over time, Jacob's flock got bigger and stronger, while Laban's flock got weaker and weaker. And the outcome is just a total flip of the script. The guy who showed up with nothing but a walking stick becomes, as the text says, exceedingly prosperous. He ends up with massive flocks, servants, camels, donkeys, the whole shebang, all earned through this unbelievable strategy.
And that's what we're left with, this huge question. So what was it? Was it Jacob's incredible success all down to a really shrewd, if pretty weird, breeding strategy? Was it a miracle? Was it God rewarding him after all those years of being tricked by his boss? Or was it both? Human cleverness getting a boost from divine favor? It's a fascinating question, and it really gets to the heart of this whole story, this amazing mix of faith, strategy, and destiny that makes it such a timeless tale of rivalry and the will to build a future for yourself.